Okay, hi everybody. Welcome back to Iron Crane Dojo. I'm Bill McCabe, and in the past several videos, the past several months, I've been talking about basic stick fighting concepts and ideas. And we talked about the 12 incoming angles, about the 12 blocks, about matching your stick up with the attacker stick, basically controlling position, all those things. And then we talked about the basic 12 blocks and striking counters, and then we set up Año Uno for you, which is the basic kata, which allows you to practice and to master those concepts. Now what I want to do is lay the groundwork for Año Dos, which is the second kata. And Año Dos concentrates on joint locks and joint releases, okay? Whereas Año Uno concentrates on striking counters, Año Dos concentrates on the basic blocks and disarms. So we're still in the basic area here. It's still basic concepts, but these are the foundation concepts that really propel you into more advanced things. So we would hope that if you explore these particular types of skills, that you get firmly rooted in basics before you try the extraordinary, because otherwise the good stuff will never work properly. See you later, Steve. Hey. Okay, so you probably remember that the 12 basic blocks would be against, we'll have Terry here just standing and hold the position, if you will. The 12 basic blocks, starting block, are to defend you against the 12 strikes. This is strike 1, strike 2. Make sure I'm in there too. Okay.
I would hope, yeah.
Strike 1, strike 2. That's at the shoulder. 3 would be the pelvis. 4 the pelvis opposite side. 5 is thrusting or stabbing, poking right up the middle. It can be with either foot forward. 6 is cross angle shot to the head. 7, opposite side. 8 is the low strike, leg joint. 9, leg joint. 10 is the angular strike. 11 is the angular strike opposite side. 12 is over the top, to the head, either leg forward. Either leg forward, it'll still work the same. Okay, and then in previous videos we explained in detail the fundamental blocks for those attacks. I'll demonstrate them though just to sort of get you reacquainted before we push forward. So I'll have Terry, she attacks with number 1. 1. 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11. Okay, and all these blocks should be second nature before you move it forward in your own exploration of skills. You just have to have these down cold, because in time they become much quicker and much more efficient, but you have to have the basic moves, the basic angles set in place. Okay, so with the 12 disarms, we're going to have the camera come a little bit closer, and we're going to do each of the 12 attacks, and we'll explain to each of the disarms as the attack comes in. And we'll do this in slow, meticulous detail so you can see exactly what it is that we're doing, and you can explore these leverage concepts on your own if you choose to do so. So she attacks with number 1. Now elsewhere we talked about controlling the X. Okay. And controlling the X means that when you block, your hand is positioned on the X so that you have maximum control of the attacker's motion. So she comes again. So as I block with number 1, you can see I'm always on the X. Here I grasp the X. Bring the camera in so they can see how I'm doing that. Okay, I'm circling the X with my hand and grasping it. Aligning the sticks. Bringing the butt and tip of the stick over her arm. Centering the leverage, going vertical and downward. There's your disarm. The counter could very easily be a counter strike with the sticks, or a raking technique, or splitting out and striking. One more time. She comes in, capture, up, over, down, hit. You'll see that when she comes down, the leverage of the technique brings her head into the counter. You can see it right there. Yeah, we're going to reverse directions here so you can see the opposite side of this. She comes in, lock, capture, up. See the leverage, vertical, down, counter. Okay, so that's disarm number 1. Disarm number 2. These are the 12 basic disarms once again. She comes in, number 2. You notice I'm protecting the X. Again, as she attacks, capture. I want to show you the capture, opposite view. She attacks, attack, capture. Watch how I align the sticks. See, I'm almost lining them up perfectly. Now, bring the camera in close. I want everyone to see how I'm capturing her hand and her thumb. You see that? I bring it over here over my shoulder so that you can see that even more closely. And then what I do, keep the camera right there, is I roll it over to the center position, bring her down, snap the thumb of the wrist if I choose, bring her down, and counter. Okay, one more time. She comes in, capture, circle, over, down, hit. One more time. Capture, circle, over, down, hit. Okay, number 3 is she attacks my pelvis, I break angle, cobra. Okay, now I can disarm here. Or I can take her stick by trapping it under my arm. Okay, so let's go over here. Let them see that again. I can do a disarm. Other side. I can disarm, counter, or I can capture her stick, bringing it up and resting in my arm. Okay. Either way, I've got a clean counter. I want you to see what's happening. This is a snake-like technique or a snake technique. She attacks, I block, my hand goes under, circles completely, and returns the energy. So I can hold her stick or drop it, or right, I choose to do, and then I have a clean counter. I think you got that. We'll move on to number 4. And she comes to this side and attacks. Number 4. Now what I do with 4 is I hit off the block, okay, into a soft spot underneath the arm or to the frontal portion of her body. I'm being cautious here. Okay. It's a lot easier when guys do this against guys. But as I do that, after I strike, I use that to leverage her into a downward position, and I kick into an exposed target. So I'm going to have a reverse view of that. She attacks, I block, hit. I can also hit her head, as you can see. I bring my stick into a leveraged position. Notice that it's horizontal. If there's any angle to it, I lose control of the leverage. By keeping it horizontal to the ground, I can bring her down to where I can kick. And there's the exposed target. She does it on me. So I attack, she strikes, keeps it horizontal, tilts me down, excellent, kick. Okay, number 5, she attacks, lock, cradle. Cradle, see how I set up the cradle. She comes in, I'll show you the whole technique first. In, roll, capture, hit. That's what it looks like, the whole technique. Give you an opposite side view. She comes in, cradle, down, hit. Okay, here's the details. She comes in, Watch my left hand. Snake technique again. Underneath. Rolls over the top. As that's taking place, my right hand goes to the pressure point just above the elbow. Applies pressure on it. Brings her down. You can see how she's locked onto my chest. And then I count to the exposed portion of her head. I can also kick. I can also work the arm. One last time, she does it on me. Sorry. Underneath, cradle, down, and counter. Number 6. Okay, this is a repeat of number 2. Okay, so when you do these, in the kata, number 6 and number 7 are different. We'll talk about that when we're setting up the kata, the second kata. But in the sequence of 12 basic disarms, number 6 is a repeat of number 2. Basically the same technique, but at a different height. Around, over, and hit. Now, we've already covered number 2, so we don't need to repeat the detail there, except just be aware it can be done higher up. Higher, and down. Number 7 is a repeat of number 1, done at a higher angle, up, down. Again, and what I'm doing here is I'm showing you that they can be done quicker. Once you learn how to do them efficiently, they become very quick. Okay? You remember the rate? Let me see. Number 8. That's number 8 in the kata. Number 8 in the sequence is this. She attacks low, I'm low, I check her stick, and I just bring up my left hand. Remember that? Yes. Okay. So I strike, real slow. And she just brings her hand up. There's the disarm. Then she has the counter if she wants to take it. Now I'm going to talk through this real slow. So she attacks number 8. I just use my stick as a platform or a check, and then I do a wipe disarm. Grab the stick again. I want everyone to see this. Bring this in real close so they can watch what my hands are doing. I check, right over the top. Good. And they go opposite directions, like a bow and arrow. And that cutting energy is what gives me the disarm and the ability to counter. Number 9. This is the lower tag to the knees. I block, capture, hit. Hit again, followed by takedown. Okay, and I'm just being careful and gentle today, but you get the idea. We'll break this down into detail. First, I will let Terry demonstrate it from her perspective. Okay, so here's the details of that. Camera in close. So she attacks. I block. I capture. What I do is I turn her thumb into my striking release here, because that's the weak spot. I want to strike in line with this little notch. If I strike where the knuckles are, her hand will flex and it will not necessarily release the stick. So I block. I capture, I turn her slightly as I strike. Now watch, you'll actually see it happen. And that creates the leverage I need to pop her stick out. I'm in position for the quick hit here. And if you watch the leverage here, walk around her, if you will. And all the way to the front. You can walk around me too, so you can see the whole leverage. And then what I do is I take a step behind, and that amps the technique to where she no longer has balance. Okay, and then you see that. And then when she goes to the ground, I release the technique and do a finishing strike. Release it and finish. Number 10 is the angular incoming strike. Okay. This is tricky, so you got to be very, very careful when you practice. Just make sure you wear safety glasses, of course, which you should be wearing all the time. She comes in, it's like I'm on a skateboard. Look at my feet relative to her. It's like there's a skateboard around my feet. She comes in one more time, and I'm here. And walk the camera around if you will. One more time. Just hold that spot. She comes in. And I'm here, reading it. I'll watch my left hand. I glide it over the top and capture her stick. So I'm here, I down it and roll it around and capture it. Again, go back, she strikes. I'm here, I glide it and capture it. My right hand comes over and strips, releases. I use this to check any possible kicks, anything else she might be thinking of, and then I counter. One more time. Comes in, down it, strike, hit, and counter. Now, I attack her. She's doing the same thing. I come in, obscure angle, she blocks, clears, and then counters. Number 11. Here's the attack. Angular attack from the opposite side. She comes in. Again, look at my feet. I call this a cobra, a high cobra position. It's like I'm on a skateboard relative to her. Again, she comes in from above. I block. Now watch. Block, strike, strip, strike. One more time. She attacks. Block, strike, strip, strike. Okay, I attack Terry. Block, strike, strip, strike. Okay, that one's not too hard. Number 12, remember you just did strike, strip, strike. Number 12 is strike, strike, strip, strike. So just remember that little mantra, it'll be a lot easier. So she's here. Number 12 is to my head. I block. Okay? So it's a head strike. I block, capture, strike. This could be a release. If I hit it hard, she'll release. Again. Strike. I'm sorry, block, block, strike. Now come over here. I want you to see where I'm striking. She attacks. Here I'm doing a sunrise block, which is a fluid block. Okay, strike. See the exposed joint? Some people like to strike on what's called a snuff box. Some nerves cross over in there. That's fine as long as you remember not to strike with full intent when you're practicing with your friends. Okay. Remember the mantra that we said? Strike, strike, strip, strike. I'm going to show you what that means right now. She attacks. Strike. Strike. Strip. Strike. One more time. She stands over here. Strike. 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 Strip. Strike. Okay, Terry does it to me. Attack. Strike. Strike. Strip. Strike. Okay. Come over here if you will. Get my more agreeable side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, again, this is reinforcing basic concepts, basic techniques, and the basic techniques here were the basic disarms. You can take these and go a long way. At first, they're slow, they have a lot more steps than you probably need, but what happens is you become efficient when you practice these enough, and then they become much faster than you even can anticipate that they can be, that they have the potential for becoming. Okay, they're all very effective, and if you just do these as mental exercises for acquiring skills and leverage and disarming attackers, as well as working angles and setting up counters, these will take you a long way. So, you know, you take these, you experiment with them, and the next video that we do, we're going to put these together into the second kata, which is called Año Dos, which means kata number 2, with some slight variations, which are also interesting, but they will basically be predicated on these 12 moves. Okay, till then, stay well. It'll be a little while before I'm back with you, but just keep working on exploring things that take you to better places.